Hey everybody, welcome to Fantasy R&R. This is your host Ryan, and this is an episode Ben Askren versus Jake Paul.
This is Fantasy with Rob and Ryan, Fantasy R&R.
All right, we're gonna be doing a little MMA action. If you guys remember or you've listened through the tracks, clicked on them, you would hear that we had correctly called Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic 2 correctly. We had Ngannou with a second round knockout, 2.5 or under. We are going to be doing Ben Askren versus Jake Paul next for a very good reason. This fight is getting a lot of attention right now, a lot of media attention. Some of you may have seen that press conference. Ben Askren absolutely clowned Jake Paul up in those high heel platform hooker shoes that he had on. Dude just pushed his face away like he was swatting a fly. Absolutely hilarious. One of the things I'm hearing a lot is there's this tired argument: Ben striking is poor, Ben striking is poor. Yeah, I get it. Ben Askren doesn't starch people with right hands or left hands. But I'm going to be honest, I've seen some of Jake Paul's sparring videos. Dude looks like he's just trying to flap his wings like a chicken that's trying to fly away. I don't see anything impressive about some guy just smacking inanimate objects as hard as he can, acting like he's going to go into a fight with a trained killer, take him down. It's not going to happen. That's a tired argument. Ben has obviously been working with top-tier striking coaches over the course of his career. You don't walk into MMA fights. You don't walk into cages to fight another man without somebody else telling you how to throw a punch. Maybe he doesn't utilize that. Doesn't matter. In MMA, the other guy isn't just trying to punch you either. Ben is an Olympian. I don't think a lot of people really understand what that means because they're not good at anything in their lives. A lot of people that complain about Ben being a poor striker and how he's going to get KO'd by Jake Paul, they're just sitting around playing video games all day in the first place. Ben is 19-2. He's actually finished 6 guys by TKO. They aren't really notable guys if you go and look at his record and you follow MMA, but he still TKO'd them. I mean, Shinya Aoki, he's actually a major star back in the Strikeforce days and the FC1 days, that kind of thing. He got TKO'd by Ben. Now, he's not really known for striking him, but he can strike. I mean, he's a smaller guy. Ben took him down and ground and pounded him. I mean, he could take shots from people all day and do the same thing to Shinya Aoki, or do the same thing to them that he did to Shinya Aoki. So, when you look at his record, it's actually pretty impressive because he has finished 6 people by TKO, 6 trained killers. Now, when I look at Jake Paul, he hasn't finished any trained killers by TKO or KO. He's never actually fought a real fighter. He's fought YouTube personalities and a basketball player who's really short, past his prime. He's basically as old as Ben Askren is, if I can remember correctly. I don't follow basketball, so I don't know a whole ton about his career. But the guy got into the ring for the first time to spar with people when he was getting ready for the fight with Jake Paul. So by that logic, I mean, maybe he was going to get starched anyway, because Jake Paul, to his credit, actually trains in boxing, but he's only been doing it for 3 years. That's nothing, guys. You just don't get good at something in 3 years. It's not possible. He gets jabbed easy. I watch him walking around the ring with his sparring partners, and even that first fight with that Deji guy. I don't even care about these YouTube clowns, but I think it was that Deji guy, whatever you guys call him. He actually pops Jake immediately with a jab. The dude's never fought before. Jake has no protection when he's punching. He doesn't cover his own head when he jabs, doesn't cover his own head when he throws a right hook. He just kind of throws all of his torque into it and is just like big man hit hard. That's not going to work in a boxing fight. One of the big things that actually struck me as I was looking at some of this footage is you can see here that Jake is actually circling back into the ring, into the ropes, into the corner. And this is a non-fighter doing this to him. I basically refer to this guy as a fucking civilian. It's not like this dude's a fighter. He's actually causing Jake to back himself up into the rings and ropes. This isn't a street fight. This is boxing. I don't care what he would do in a street fight. I don't think he'd do much, especially against a guy like Ben Askren. But he's actually walking himself into the worst area of the ring that you can possibly walk into if you're a professional boxer. In my opinion, what's going to happen here, and especially if you watch some of that training footage with Freddie Roach and Ben Askren, is Freddie Roach is actually walking into the ropes and the corners, and he's goading Ben, come into me, come into me. There's a reason for that, because they're watching that same tape I just watched, and they're thinking to themselves, Jake Paul is scared, he's inexperienced, he's not used to pressure being put on him, and we just need to walk him back into the ropes, into the corner. We're going to clinch on him, underhooks, because Ben's a strong wrestler. I think Jake wrestled in high school, but he's nothing to Ben's caliber. Ben's gonna put some pressure on him, and he's gonna lay down all that Ben Askren strength, and he's just gonna press and press and press. Jake's never felt anything like that in his life, I guarantee it. So Ben's gonna take those underhooks and lay on him for a second, clinch up, then he's gonna go to the body, uppercut, just break, and then he's gonna repeat the whole cycle over and over again. I am doing this video because some random account named Bout Better is telling me that there's no way that Ben Askren is going to win because he's using that same tired argument. Oh, striking's poor. I mean, it's just a lazy argument by people who don't actually watch fights or understand what it's like to be punched in the face by another man. What I thought to myself was, this guy actually, on his channel, got the Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic fight wrong. Thought Stipe would take the distance. I thought that was a joke before the fight ever happened. And now here we are in this situation where he thinks that Ben Askren versus Jake Paul is going to be a cakewalk for Jake Paul, and I'm trying to tell him, like, listen, man, what's really going to happen if you watch fights and you watch them over and over again, you're going to see Ben Askren do a sloppy, ugly decision, maybe 5 to 7 rounds TKO or an 8-round decision, and he's just going to grind on him the whole time, because that's how you win a fight. Ben has a championship mentality. Ben is a champion. He's a 2-time MMA champion. He's been in the ring with trained killers, Robbie Lawler, Douglas Lima. Shinya Aoki's a dangerous guy. Jorge Masvidal, I mean, that's a knee we've never seen in the UFC before, and he hasn't done it to anyone else, and he's never done it since. So that's one of those one-off things. It's like hitting a grand slam that's 600 feet in the air. It's just not going to happen that often. So erase that from his record, because there's no knees in boxing. Ben's never been knocked out with a punch, ever. He's never been TKO'd. Dude was 19-0 before he got to the UFC. He stepped in the ring with 19 trained killers and found a way not to get knocked out by them. He didn't even get knocked out by Robbie Lawler. You people can totally judge whether or not Robbie tapped or whether Robbie was out. I mean, he didn't tap, but that whole thing about whether or not it was really a submission, I don't really care. To me, I mean, Robbie's hand went limp. I don't know how you do that when you're getting shaken by the other. You should throw your hands up to do something if you're not unconscious. But regardless, I just don't see how Jake has anywhere near the experience in a ring with someone who's actually being paid to punch him in the face like Ben does. Because let's get real, Jake's yes men, they're not being paid to punch him in the face. They're being paid to go in there and tell him, yeah, man, you're a killer. I mean, the dude's a clown. I mean, look at his short. Dude looks, he dresses like one of those like sad clowns that has like, you know, like raggedy clothes on and stuff. And you might as well just put a cigar in his mouth and one of those little top hats on him. But that face-off at the press conference, obviously people have been talking about that for the past week, was a complete joke. Jake's wearing like 3-inch high heel hooker boots on it. Ben Askren's got flip-flops on and face palms, and we all saw it happen. Yeah, it was a slap to the body. He didn't slap his butt. He didn't punch him either. It was just very awkward way to react to another man clowning you, and I think he's a little scared because he's starting to realize this isn't a YouTuber I'm fighting, this isn't a civilian, this is somebody who is not frightened of me at all. You got to think of it in a different way. I mean, this is a guy who's trained with the best killers in the world, and right now he's training with Floyd Mayweather's uncle, Freddie Roach. He's trained with Duke Rufus all his life. He's had a bunch of different MMA fighters come into his gyms and teach him how to fight. I mean, the dude trained with Tyron Woodley, and you're telling me that Tyron Woodley can't throw a punch? Ben Askren knows what he's doing, and he's very smart. He's going to go in there and grind it out. It's going to be the end of Jake Paul. So I'm telling you, for a guy who never tells people to go out and gamble on stuff, I'll do this account that's trolling me. I'll do the one better. I'm telling you, $1,000, match me. Go out there and bet on Ben Askren by TKO rounds 5 through 7. It's going to be an ugly fight. People like these clowns that are doubting this and thinking Jake Paul is going to win, they're going to be sitting there being like, oh, this is a boring fight. It's their excuse to ignore what we knew was going to happen the entire time. Ben Askren's going to take this slow, grinding, humiliating decision. He's going to take that blonde flower boy haircut. He's going to send him out into the ether. I guarantee it. Somebody get Jake a new pair of Timberlands. This one's over. All right, guys, that's it for Fantasy R&R this week. My next episode's probably going to be a quick update on my baseball season. Started off real hot, had some good drafts. I'm doing a roto, a points versus points. I think I'm also doing a stats league. Rob's not had a whole lot of time to join the podcast. Hopefully that'll change soon. For now, my name is Ryan. This is Fantasy R&R. We'll see you next time.